Morning. But just before we get into that, we'll keep reminding you that Ghana works better when you all play our parts. So please pick your phone, dial star 447 star 33 hash and pay your TV lines and star 447 star 333 hash to pay. Now, sports fans, Ghana football lovers, are you ready? The FIFA World Cup 2026 is going to the USA, Canada, and Mexico, and this is your chance to be there live. Ibis Gold Group, in partnership with Gold Star Consult, is taking passionate Ghanaian supporters straight to the world's biggest football stage to cheer on the Black Stars. Introducing the Ghana Supporters Travel Package. Everything is fully handled so you can focus on the excitement. Registration and consultation, visa processing assistance, travel health insurance, three World Cup match tickets, round-trip airfare, international transportation, 14-night accommodation with breakfast, official Black Stars fan jersey, all available for you. This initiative is officially accredited by the Ministry of Sports and Recreation. No stress, no hassle, just football, passion, and unforgettable memories. Choose from standard, corporate economy, or corporate business packages. Standard package starts at just $8,900 US. But note that seats are limited, so don't wait till extra time. And call now on 0537 804 887 or 0545 995 223 or visit www.ebisgoldtravels.com or walk into their office at Sakumano Estate Junction, same building as Cheesy Pizza. Ebis Gold Group, it's a golden experience. Let's take Ghana to the World Cup. They say the future is coming. We say we are shaping it. Join the continent's biggest fintech gathering at the 3i Africa Summit 2026 under the theme, The Next Frontier, Shaping Africa's Integrated Fintech Future. From May 6th to 8th, the Destiny Arena in Accra becomes the heart of Africa's integrated fintech future. Come connect with founders, meet the regulators, and close the deal with global investors as we redefine how Africa transacts, invests, and grows. 3i Africa is proudly hosted by the Bank of Ghana with support from GIBS and the Global Finance and Technology Network. So register now at 3iafrica.com and be part of the transformation. Rand Lottery, there's a time for you to play Rand Lottery. Yeah, the trusted lottery that gives you more chances to win big every single day. It's affordable, transparent, and always rewarding. Rand Lottery puts you first. Now here's the best part. With 3 daily draws, you never miss a chance. Start your morning with exciting morning draws. Keep the 3 alive at noon with the Star Midday Games and close the day in style with another Star draws. That's 3 opportunities every day from Monday to Sunday to turn your dreams into reality. So don't wait, whether it's building that new home or supporting your family or chasing your personal goals, Rand Lottery is the best lottery to stake. Join thousands of winners across the country and make your dream a reality. So today, Thursday, the opportunity to stake include Endowment Thursday, Star Thursday, and Thursday Anaju Star. Endowment, Star Thursday, and Thursday Anaju Star. Also, the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, is reminding members and the public that they no longer need to visit any of its branches to access services. With the introduction of the SNIT virtual branch, members can conveniently access services remotely, anytime and from anywhere, using the SNIT app or USSD *711 *9# or the SNIT portal, snit.org.gh. Services available include member registration, benefits processing, update of personal records, and general inquiries. For seamless access to SNIT's 24-hour virtual services, kindly call SNIT at 0302 611 622 to interact with the team. SNIT always delivers on its promise. Again, if you're looking to expand your business horizons while enjoying a world-class travel experience, here's something to note. The Vanuatu Business and Pleasure Tour 2026 is bringing together business leaders, investors, and professionals for a unique blend of strategic engagement and leisure. Participants will take part in business forums, networking sessions, and investment discussions while also experiencing Vanuatu's rich culture, scenic islands, and tourism attractions. It is business with purpose and pleasure. Registration is currently open for the Vanuatu Business and Pleasure Tour 2026. Think business, think leisure, think Vanuatu. To register, please call the Vanuatu Trade Commission Ghana on 0240 229 282 or 0544 626 905. Note, registration is on first come, first served basis. We'll keep asking, how do you start your day? If you haven't had your cup of Mixi Choco, you are truly missing out. The rich new taste of Mixi Choco is crafted to brighten your mornings and keep you refreshed all day long. Everything you need is right in there. Just add hot water, stir, and enjoy a warm, comforting cup. Now for the coffee lovers, Mixi has something special for you too. Mixi Coffee delivers a creamy, smooth coffee experience that keeps you energized for your everyday hustle. Just one sip and you are good to go. And guess what? There's more. Introducing the new delicious Mixi Strawberry, a sweet, exciting addition and one more reason to love Mixi. Start your day the right way. Start it with Mixi. Mixi Channel Hot. Now let's see what our papers are saying for today. We'll start off with the Ghanaian Times, and the big one says, free primary health care to support NHIS, not replace it. President Mahama says so. You can see that on page 12. OSP can't prosecute without agents' authorization. High courts. Government reduces diesel, petrol prices. Also in the Daily Graphic, OSP unfazed by power to prosecute ruling, with his picture right there. President charges Ghanaians to lead healthy lifestyle, launches free primary health care program. You can see that on page 13. Now to the Chronicle. Final nail in OSP's coffin, with his picture there as well, and that of Dominic Ayine, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice. Anti-corruption body stripped of prosecutorial powers, but Ejabeng vows Supreme Court's battle. Other stories in there as well. Now to the Daily Guide. OSP has no power to prosecute. This is actually making, news all around across the board. Interior Minister imposes curfew on Karaga Gushegu. Okay, other stories as well in there. Now the Dispatch. Mahama cautions against late night eating as Ghana tackles NDC crisis. Maybe this would go to Thelma. 6 leading members battle to be national chairman of the NPP. And the question is, who wins? The Archives. High Court orders IOCO to withdraw wanted notice against Council of State member Dr. Kwamega Atogble and Sesi Edem, directors. 3 busters for cocaine, 800,000 Ghana cedis in cash seized. Okay, that's it for our papers. Thelma is beautifully seated with the gentleman to delve into some of the issues. Please stay and do well to interact with us.
Welcome back to GTV Breakfast. We're streaming live across our social media handles, GTV Ghana everywhere. This is the headline segment with Thelma Taki, and that's my handle across social media. I am Thelma Taki. You can follow me as well. I'll introduce my guest and then we'll get to the big stories, three major ones getting center stage this morning. And with me to help us analyze it, Sheikh Arimiyao Shaibu is a spokesperson for the National Chief Imam. Sheikh, salamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam and shalom.
Shalom to you too. And Reverend Dr. Lawrence Tete, President and Founder, Worldwide Miracle Outreach. Doc, shalom.
Shalom.
Welcome to both of you. Thursday mornings are lit. So we have the very, very tolerant mix of the Sheikh and the Reverend getting into the big story. So, Sheikh and Rev, today we'll talk about the free primary healthcare system, which was launched yesterday. The OSP is at it again. The High Court gave him some news he did not particularly like. And we'll also get into government announcement of some easing in the fuel pressures that Ghanaians are facing. So perhaps we'll start with health, because both of you are very passionate about it. Yesterday, the free primary health care was launched at Dodowa, very near Reverend's hometown. And we're told by officials that it will complement, not replace, the NHIS, and that Ghana is continuing to work towards achieving universal health care suffrage. So the key thing is it is not going to replace the NHIS in any way, but it is rather going to replace it as a critical part of achieving universal health care. President Mahama clarified that the initiative will also ensure that citizens receive essential services at no cost, and the NHIS will continue to cover specialized and advanced care. I'm sure that you monitored this development yesterday, and even before the launch yesterday, conversations had already been had. People were asking questions. Do you feel now that those questions have been answered, especially with regards to the role of the National Health Insurance Scheme in addition to the free healthcare? I'll start with you on this, Sheikh.
And thank you very much, and good morning. My condolences. We've lost a very close friend, Ato, who has been supporting and accompanying my good brother here all the time. I mean, a childhood friend. We lost him, and he just told me that this morning. So
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, my condolences to Reverend, and I hope that God will suit your heart. Yes, I mean, any policy, in my view, that takes care of the lowest on the economic ladder is something worth pursuing. It doesn't matter whatever dimensions of our life we're talking about, but here we're talking about health, and health is wealth. Let your health be tampered with in any way, and the wealthy are able to. Indeed, just now, if something happens to, I don't hope that it happens to any of our top echelons of our political, I mean, if they think that they do not trust our health system here, the next second,
on the flight,
they will be in the UK or in the US or Canada. But a poor person whose daily bread is difficult to eke is confronted with so much of health challenges because of poverty. I think these are the people for whose reason we have a government. And they constitute the bigger chunk or a percentage of our population. Yeah, so for me, any such policy that has this kind of positive social implications, for me, is something worth pursuing.
So, just to educate our viewers, yes, and to add to what you're saying, what does the free primary health care program actually cover? And the Ghana Health Service has given some indications. So you will get some free basic health screening at least once a year, treatment for common illnesses like malaria, cholera, respiratory infections. It also offers preventive services, so hypertension, diabetes, cancer screening, because we know that non-communicable diseases are on the rise and their fatalities are also rising. So hypertension, diabetes, cancer screening will also be covered. Immunizations, antenatal and postnatal care have also been mentioned in there. Health education is also key, family planning, hygiene, sanitation. The emphasis is shifting from treating sickness to preventing diseases.
Yeah, so preventive health rather than curative. And for me, it's also a certain long-term approach to dealing with this no-bed syndrome, and then also going to our emergency, units of our hospitals and find people lying down because they did not take care of their health in terms of what food they take. And I like the president's indication that we should stop taking. Of course, I mean, I was thinking that I want to develop a big belly.
You want to put on a bit
of
he developed too much.
So I have been trying to say that maybe at midnight I'll be taking banku and so on.
You can't sleep.
So that I can
you
a
get
bit fat on my body.
So you won't be cold. But these days it's hot. So,
so
if you
but
have
at
too
least
much weight.
with this one, then I'm medicated now. Look, I should remain the way I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, this preventive aspect for me is very important, and it has to do with the education about what are the causes of certain diseases, especially the non-communicable. For example, high blood pressure, certain cancerous, things that when we eat, accumulate in us and cause cancerous. Some of the things that affect our internal organs that sometimes we are unaware of, and until it has reached the ailment has reached an advanced stage where the cost of treating which can be so exorbitant that one is unable to do so. So that's why the preventive for me, and they say preventing is better than cure.
Okay.
So for me, for the government to come with this free primary health care, but my concern is how far we are going with the education to conscientize people that they can take advantage of it. Our culture, tradition, is such that we remain, sometimes we are not very, very conscious of things, the lifestyle that we lead that leads to some of these things. So
perhaps that's when I can bring in this bit of the free primary health care policy. Government says it's not waiting for people to come to the traditional hospitals, but is actually deploying some kind of container-based healthcare posts.
Good.
And so we are told that over 350 container-based health posts will be sited in markets, lorry parks, and communities, and an initial rollout targeting 150 underserved districts will be the starting point. The expectation is that there will be a deployment of 24,000 plus medical equipment to boost these local facilities. So access and proximity are also being targeted in this drive.
It's only one dimension of the thing. You see, mindset is very key here. Look, when you place it close his doorsteps and he is not interested,
he still will not go.
He will not even go. Look, he'll be walking past. And sometimes, excuse my language, please, our listeners, sometimes we behave like, he said, when the bull is lying down and you want it to get up, you try, it doesn't, but when you prick it, you prick it with something painful, then he will rise up. That's the way sometimes we behave. So we wait until the thing gets worse. So sometimes the thing is close to you.
So the education is still
So
key for you.
education is it how to sensitize people to know that this is in their own interest. That from time to time, when they see, the moment they see this, it's like the fire service. The fire service keep on educating, telling us what we should do.
And we will listen.
And we will not listen. I mean, sometimes the fire service is just close to our doorsteps. And even when we, sometimes they falsely, how do they call that false thing that they go? I mean,
the false alarm.
The false alarm.
The prank
I mean,
calls.
the prank calls. I mean, the fire service, the fire is burning here and they tell him, they direct him to the other side. So before he will go and turn out, the whole thing is bent. So a certain kind of sharp public education need to be done and to change attitude and to see the importance of taking advantage of this. Other than that, we will have it still, we're having the same problem. So it's a commendable thing. I will commend the government for doing that, and or the fact that it also not replace but it will complement the NHIS. So for me, it's something. I know Reverend will have more to add.
Okay, Reverend. Condolences once again on the loss of Uncle Ato. He was a friend to the entire team.
Yes, Ato Rawson has been my friend since preparatory school.
Yeah.
Yes. So we've been childhood friends, and we became brothers. He came to live with us.
I mean, clearly.
May so rest in peace. And he died out of heart attack. Something that could have been prevented. So this Saturday, we are holding a free screening services with about 20 doctors at the Christian Village Center where I do my programs.
Great.
And it's going to be free from 7 a.m. till about 2 p.m. At least, but if you are there from 7 to 10 o'clock, I think it will even be the best. We are screening people of hypertension, kidney, people don't even know they have diabetes. Some don't know they are hypertensive. A lot of people are very ignorant about what they are. And I was ignorant about something that happened to me 4 years ago. And Sheikh, I'm saying this thing publicly to help somebody. I'm the type that like running a lot. I'm very active. If you notice, I'm not a sick person. So anytime I go to any big office, I want to use the staircase, even when there are lifts. You go to a place like State House, and people think that, oh, okay, why don't you go by the lift? I want to run to the top. But then I realized at some stage I was getting very tired, and it was not like me. So I went to the UK. By the grace of God, I'm a subject of the UK community, so I freely will go, and I'm on the NHS. Then I got to my doctor, and I told him I was getting tired, and he said, I like vitamin D3. The doctor is someone I know very well. I said, this is nonsense. I said, Lawrence, you are the one who is talking nonsense. I expected you to be very educated, so you know that you like vitamin D. That is why you're getting tired. I said, no. I live in Ghana now. I'm spending more time in Ghana. Not in London. At least the little science I studied know that it is lack of sunlight that makes you lack vitamin D. And if I'm in the UK and you say I lack vitamin D, it will make sense. It's a sickness for white people normally, old ladies and old men and teens. And he said, okay, this is what makes me very ignorant. Do I have air conditioning in my room? I said, of course I do, in Ghana. Do I have air conditioning in my car? I said, how do you expect me to drive in Ghana without an air conditioning in my house, in a Land Cruiser? Do you, when was the last time I walked on my own on the street? And I said, I'm Lawrence Tete. I cannot just walk anywhere like that. It's not something I do very often.
But why not? You should be able to.
Then he said, so I jog in the room. I do my exercise in my gym. I said, okay, that is my problem. And that even though I lived in Ghana and I live in Africa and the hot sun is there for free, my room is air conditioned, my car is air conditioned, my gym is indoor.
So you've made lifestyle choices that have removed you from the natural environment where you could benefit from these things.
So then he said that was my problem. So he diagnosed vitamin D3 for me, and it was a very strong one he gave me, 20 milligrams. So I take that once a week. When I did it for 1 month continuously, I recovered. Then I realized how ignorant you can be, that as educated as I thought I was. Look at the little thing that I was lacking. So now nobody will force me to early morning make sure I don't jog just inside the room or in the gym, but I come outside to make sure that I get a ray of light. And those are the things we'll be teaching this Saturday at the Christian Village. Those of you who know us and you know where we have our meetings, it is free. From 7 o'clock till about midday, we will be teaching people on how to treat their eyes. But let me say a big thank you to God, and also on behalf of His Excellency. I know when I say this, so I get in trouble. But sometimes we just give credit. Yesterday, I was happy. I was happy because the program was not just held in any place, but in Dodo of all places, where I come from. My father comes from Dodo. And so for me, send regime. Next send regime, na penugunga se mameo. Inge boajo. Na penga Dodo ahu. My mother is a Gan from Accra here, from Osu and Asren, but my father is from Dodowa. So I want to say congratulations to all the poor of Dodowa. But health care is life. And the moment we lose our life, we cannot recollect it back again. And there are a lot of people today who are walking dead, like the Bible says. If you are walking and your eye is not working, and you have kidney problem, you have liver problem, you have heart problem, you have diabetic problem, you have cancer, There is no way. As much as you even have all the monies, a lot of people have a lot of money today, but they're not living a good life. And I keep saying that you can be ahead of me with money, but you are not happy. You can be ahead of me in fame, but you don't have peace.
Yeah.
You can be ahead of me. So I will not use people to judge my lifestyle, but rather, Tema, it's very important that we encourage this. Now, we should not, once again, politicize our health. Now, what do I mean by that? You'll be surprised we are looking at it from just some minute area, but whatever happens there affects all of us. And so I want to encourage that the reason why a lot of developed communities have gone ahead of us and they live long is because of how they handle health. Free health. If you go to the UK and most European countries, you don't pay for hospital treatment if you have the right community. And so let us encourage all. And I want to say that in doing that, we should also educate our personnel. We should educate our personnel. Sometimes the way we handle things in the hospitals are a little bit sensitive. The kind of nursing and medics we had in the past years, these days some of the young men and women get into the vocation without having the passion. So I will encourage that they should be passionate about what they do and let us have a good life. And a healthy nation is a thriving nation. Okay. A healthy nation is a wealthy nation.
I'm glad you raised the point about not politicizing it, because despite the commendation, no doubt, bringing up the benefits that a free primary healthcare system could bring, there have been people who have raised what some say are legitimate concerns. So apart from the president addressing the issue about duplication of functions between the primary healthcare system and then the free NHIS system, there are also concerns about sustainability. The health minister says it will cost us 1.2 billion Ghana cedis annually. And so people are asking, how will government be able to afford this annual 1.2 billion without compromising other sectors that are also heavily dependent on government funds for sustainability? Is that a legitimate question, gentlemen?
Well, there are sometimes the issue of politicization comes up. The two political parties, big political parties, there's a competition about who is more socially concerned that implements social policies. Oh, so this party, this A. When I come, I will also do B. So, for example, the MPP introduced the free SHS, which I've said it here again, I'm a fan of free SHS. And I know there is the reason why. Reverend, I finished Form 4 in 1973, and I remained in the house for 6 years because there was no money. And I see every Ghanaian child potential. I see myself in any child here, and who have been made to remain on the side because there was no opportunity. The same way, this government is also looking at issue of the cost of health. Cost of health. So the free sector is there. We know the challenges of our economy, but we've been able to establish it. So most of the time, there's the need for us to start something and to really think about what to do to sustain it. Herein comes the question of the prudent management of our economy. We are still talking about corruption, where we drain our economic hemorrhage. It drains. And then there are little things that we can do to cater for the poor of our society. We are not doing that. So, yes, it makes sense to raise the issue of sustainability. It makes sense. Yes, it makes sense. How do we sustain it? It makes sense. Then the concern must be part of the thinking and planning of the policy implementers. To say, look, yes, in fact, when we were going to implement this, we were conscious of it. And so according to our plan, this is the plan we have put in place to sustain it. 1, 2, 3. So if that is not clear, then we call on the policy implementers or the government to make this one clear.
And there are already
to address the concerns and the fears.
And there's a health system that already is laced with challenges. Yes. So the doctor-patient ratio is not what it should be. The nurse-patient ratio is not what it should be. All the other allied health services and the auxiliary services that complement healthcare have their own different struggles. The NHIS system itself is fraught with challenges. Yeah. So the other question is, if government had 1.2 billion annually to set up another leg of a vehicle, why not repair the vehicle that we already have, so that if the engine needs to be replaced, if oil needs to be changed, they fix it within the NHIS system to provide that essential primary health care. I've heard that argument as well. Reverend, do you want to share your thoughts on this?
I think generally in Ghana, one of the things that we have to start developing is continuity, succession plan from one government to the other. It's been a trend. What NDC starts when MPP come, they want to put it aside. And what MPP starts when NDC come, they want to put it aside. But I think we should get a consensus, get a place where there's a point of convergence. I like the fact that His Excellency the President said that what they are instituting now was not to do away with the NHIS. I thought that was a very sensible way of approaching it, so that it will complement it. Maybe this will be a new vehicle that will bring VIM. That one was getting stale, and maybe the approach system, they've seen another loophole that they can use to encourage it. For me, to cut everything short, the health of the human being is more important to me than how we politicize it. We must learn to walk the talk. And Ghanaians, sometimes we do the talking more than the walking. So let us all encourage it this time. If there's going to be free NHS, and you know, the unfortunate thing is that the politicians, both NDC and MPP leaders, when they get sick, they don't stay here. They go outside. And so this is for the ordinary man on the street. And it's very important for me. In fact, I say kudos to it. Let us all embrace it, and let's make sure it works. I also was listening to the president, and I heard that he said the next stage for others with kidney problem and liver problem and things will be the Mahama care. As long as for me, it's going to be something that will be beneficial to the health and the well-being of the Ghanaian. It's very important.
I still haven't heard your thoughts exactly on the sustainability and whether or not our existing infrastructure could not have been, boosted to absorb. Because if you are thinking about the many CHIPS compounds that lack essential equipment and medications, the rural communities that continue to face shortages of doctors, nurses, community health workers, and the little significant investment into even the referral hospitals. Tamale, for example, recently complained about the lack of MRI machines and all that. Yes, through the primary healthcare system, some access would be improved, but the quality of care, really, in the end, if someone shows up at their free point and their blood pressure, yesterday one of the channels monitored someone who walked to the center and they read 200 over 100 or a blood pressure, and instantly, a tablet was brought out. She was connected to a doctor virtually via the mobile thing, and then some medication was prescribed for her. The doctor instructed that they keep her there for a while. So on that immediate term, it solves the problem. But the long term, the bigger challenges within the health sector, does this help? And are we ready?
You see, for any new systems, sometimes I think that we are quick in criticizing things. You see, let's give time and be patient to see how it unfolds.
Some even say, well, why don't you finish Agenda 111 projects? Because that would make sure that they are actually full-fledged, higher-level hospitals that have more to offer communities in terms of quality health care than the containers that are going to spring up.
The word that must be underscored here, I think, is the primary and the immediacy. When I'm sick now, and that sickness is debilitating, I must wait until the Agenda 111 is completed before I can assess health. That is a long-term solution, but in the immediate circumstance. I think that's so we must give, as sometimes in my religion, there's something we call, positive suspicion, or if you like, broadly speaking, positive thought. You know, in everything, put in front a thought that is positive about something. But if there are concerns, you can also raise it. That's when you can give opportunity for the positives of the thing to see how it impacts positively on people's life. And then we can look at. So for me here, the immediacy of the treatment that we need for people who normally will not even be able to have even the money now to travel even to Korle Bu. Korle Bu is a big hospital. The units are there. And secondly, I would prefer that, you see, prefer solutions. If you have thought about a gap, that this is a gap I have noticed. In my view, if we can do A or B. So for example, we talk of the quality, and which is number one. Because if you build a hospital and you don't have efficient or qualified doctors, or those who or the nurses who are well trained to give the quality care.
The staff, yeah.
The staff. And we can see it in our systems. So if that is what we want to talk about, then we have a component that has to do with the sort of training, because you are dealing with people at the lower level of our economic structure that will not be able to pay that exorbitant cost.
But we're also dealing with a government that is unable to employ every professional that has completed training.
Yes.
And so we have to look at that as well.
All those things. So I think it might be part and parcel of the package. For me to say that because we have a problem A, we have to finish it before we come to this, where it's related to life, to our health. We cannot wait. Yeah. So let's consider more about the immediacy of the health need. A gap that is intended to be filled by this. For me, I like it that accessibility, that when somebody is having a malaria, instead of rushing to Korle Bu, or having a blood pressure which can be treated in some way, that within the same locality, he can find some solution.
So that it doesn't burden the actual health facility.
And so the weight we put on the few health facilities that we have.
And the staff.
And the staff. And yeah. So for me, I think there is a certain kind of a search for a certain solution to the challenges of our health services that we are trying to. So I think I would advise that let's be positive about the way we think about it. For me, the poor person, the lower ladder of our economic structure is the one that I'm thinking about.
Reverend, do you have some final comments on this before we move to our next topic?
Let's prioritize our health. And sometimes we should learn how to, in the economics, we call something opportunity cost and rate cost and scale of preference. Let us get a scale of preference. And remember that our health first, it doesn't matter how much of money you have. If you have gout, you can't put on shoes. If your eyes are not good, you cannot see. And so let us prioritize health. And like Sheikh rightly said, let's decentralize this machinery. If the presidency or the office of the parliament or the judiciary goes to Bujumbura for a program and an emergency happens, we shouldn't rush to Korle Bu. There should be an immediate health post there that can help. And that is what we don't have now. So let us prioritize and make sure we stuff and we equip our medical centers. Yesterday, I visited a gentleman in hospital, one of the known hospitals here in Ghana, who had a heart issue, very bad condition. And there was no one monitoring him. It was quite scary that if the guy's BP is messed up and we know he has a very bad condition and there's no monitor, how do we assess his condition? It means that he's prone to face anything at all at any time. So these are the things that I think we should invest in. And sometimes we should deter from all the Land Cruisers and everything and all the...
And just take a walk.
And walk a little. Now, ever since I started exposing myself to the sun in the morning and walking and doing my exercises outside, my health has come back. That tiredness is gone.
Our next topic is on the fuel and the government's latest intervention to absorb 2 Ghana cedis per litre on diesel and 36 pesos per litre on petrol effective April 16, 2026, which is the next pricing window. So basically, in effect, it's happening right now, and it is to reduce prices at the pump. It is a temporary measure. It is set for 1 month. Government says it will be reviewed based on global oil price trends. It's in reaction to the external shocks we've witnessed, global crude oil prices surging sharply from about $60 to over $100 a barrel at peak times. Sometimes it goes up and down. The geopolitical tensions in the Middle East are a significant contributor to this. The happenings, the disruptions around the Strait of Hormuz have been the identified causes pushing up fuel import costs, insurance, shipping costs. Remember, all the controversies at the ports are still happening today. A crunch meeting is expected for the government side and also the traders, so the freight forwarders and the port workers, on the execution or the rolling out of an AI system to monitor payment of duties at the port. We expect that meeting to come on today. Pump prices locally, of course, have been affected because of all these things. So, Reverend Sheikh, diesel prices should be down 2 Ghana cedis per litre, and petrol prices will be 36 pesos per litre. What does that mean to you, Reverend?
You know, our microeconomy is seriously affected by even how our fuel is priced. Simple put, the truck driver, the taxi driver, the Uber driver is hiked his fare, and that affects our cassava, it affects our maize, it affects our corn, it affects our tomato. So if government subsidizes it, it reduces the cost, except that our people, even though it's being reduced now, some people still don't have a way of being moderate. But truly, at this stage of our time, those of us who drive around and buy fuel, we know how the hiking affects a lot of things. So reducing it is very good. And I pray that in the coming years, God will give us more resources to have enough strength to even reduce it drastically.
But it's for 1 month. It's for 1 month
yes,
only.
but at least that saves something in the meantime. Who knows what else can be done in the coming months.
And if after the month, the situation in the Strait of Hormuz and the disruptions do not steady themselves, that would mean that either government continues to maintain the reduced costs, absorbing, creating that cushion for consumers while putting extra pressure on government that needs to raise 1.2 billion annually to support free primary health care. Come along with me here. So it's extra, yes. It's extra burden on, or let the prices rise again and pass it on back to the consumer, because this is a 1 month announcement.
I mean, still, it brings us, I mean, the question of
temporary relief.
I mean, sustainability of, assuming the situation, the crisis prolongs beyond a certain period. How far are we able to continue absorbing this? But for me, basic thing that I will say, which in my view is positive, probably we are shifting away from democracy of political elitism to democracy of care. Not this government alone, but any past government that has implemented something, thinking about global factors that are impacting negatively on our economy, especially on the poor people, and looking for a solution to bring relief to the people. For me, that is democracy of care, and that is what makes democracy meaningful. Any democracy that does not impact positively and bring relief, for me, is a political jargon. And that is the democracy that we have suffered in this country for a long time. Is just in the way we have practiced our democracy is that democracy means majority rule. But I think that within the past period, we are realizing that a certain shift from that myopic understanding of what democracy means to look at the democracy of the people. There was thinking about the circumstance of the people, emerging issues that are coming, impacting on them negatively, and government judiciously using state resources to ensure that a relief is brought to the people of the lowest ladder of our government, which constitute our majority. So to say that we have reduced it because of what is happening is positive, especially so if it's going to impact on our transportation, the carting of food from the rural areas to down, and affecting, because, you know, fuel price hikes has a chain of impact on us. And those who are rich, they don't care so much about whether the fuel goes up or not. I mean, except if they are in business and they are paying huge salaries, or, you know, to their workers, then they begin to care. But as to what they will eat, utilities that they will pay for, water, electricity, and other things, they care less about this. But go to the village person or the cocoa farmer or the farmer who takes just little. So for me, it's good that there's a response. You know, the government is close to the circumstance of the people and want to do something. It is not our fault that these things are happening. But when they happen, just like the Ukraine-Russian war, we talk about it. Now it is the Strait of Hormuz. A war between, is it 3 countries?
Yes. America
and Israel on one side and Iran on the other. And this is affecting the whole of the world. So, and this is, the world must give us a lesson. Even the discourse about this in this country, nobody should be happy that these things are happening. We're in a world of plenty, but through our ego, violence, greed, in this modern world that you want to promote the democracy of domination, I mean, creating crisis in the whole of the world. I mean, how can you have a whole country, I mean, go to somebody's country and then kick a whole president? And when there is a negotiation even about an issue, before realizing, I mean, you're going to bombing, and now creating the whole of problems. So even as a nation, we need to really look at some of these things very well. And when we are discussing, look at it from a global point of view. How can we have a world wherein there is peace? Now, because of somebody's decision, whether wrongly or right, we are suffering, and our government is compelled now to reduce.
But this is a subsidy. There was no communication in that press statement from the presidency about what specific taxes are going to be reduced. So this fuel subsidy has been announced, 2 Ghana cedis for diesel, right, and 36 pesos for petrol. But we still haven't been told if actual price or taxes on fuel are being cut, and which particular taxes or levies on the fuel products will be targeted in that removal process. Do you find that of concern, Reverend?
I think eventually that will come out. I mean, it's not us here talking about it. A few commentaries I had yesterday evening. And so I think eventually, maybe by the close of the day of this week, we should be able to get the clear lines as to the implementation process, what is meant and what is supposed to be done. But having said that, I must say, though, that we have a collective responsibility to seek the welfare of this nation of ours. And let's put our hands on deck and get things done. We all have a responsibility to make sure the pieces are brought together. I used to use this word that we need a massive united front. A massive united front to build our consensus. Ghana must work out. We cannot be dilly-dallying with our things. And let me go back again. Let us desist from politicizing everything. Sometimes when we say it, people think it's because you are leaning on some other side. But the truth is that, let me digress a little. Thelma, we come here so we can contribute our quota to the community. We don't come here because we want to stay in certain politics. There are certain people that after a certain time in life, the kind of pedigree God has given us, or blessing God has given us, we can't be put in a political box. It would be very unwise of me to assume that NDC, NPP, CPP, no, I'm a Ghanaian. And this stage that God has brought, the privilege that God has given us, or the benefit and the grace God has given us, we have to use that grace to benefit our nation. So when we come to speak here, we don't speak here because we are holding a political party card for a particular party. We want to encourage our people. And I want people to take this segment of ours as such. Otherwise, in the past few weeks, I've read some of the comment, and it's very unfortunate.
Yes.
Very, very unfortunate. Certain people have so much respect for. I think I've lost it with me, because we don't even a sound bite from GBC. Some people just take segment. You know why? Because there are some commentators in some of the press houses who don't have content. So they take the content from here, and then they leave all the good things we say and just pick some aspect of it and then use it to their own detriment, because people are discerning now. It's not about NDC, NPP. Even now, so as I say, I'm digressing a little. There is no way in my position now I will endorse LGBT. Okay. No. Whether in MPP time or NDC time or CPP time or whatever party to come. My stance has not changed.
Okay.
And so the fact that you spoke hardly in 2024, and this time speaking, we grow. And as we grow, we try to manage the way we approach things. But it's not to say, I can't change my stand. I'm a pastor, and forever be a pastor. In fact, there was nothing wise I did. I did economics and international relations, but being a pastor was the wisest thing I ever did. That's me, and I'm proud I'm a pastor.
Reverend, thank you, and thank you, Sheikh, for those perspectives. So, bottom line is, right now, government is paying part of your fuel cost. If you're buying diesel from today, 16th of April, government is paying 2 Ghana cedis per litre for you. And if you use petrol, then government is paying 36 pesos per litre for you. If you use EV, please.
So how do I know that? How do I know that the price has come down because of that reduction?
When you go to the pumps, okay, so whichever station you use, yes, you should see 2% less on the board from what you used to pay yesterday.
They will indicate.
They should indicate.
They will indicate.
So they have to.
Also transferred in how much fuel is put in your.
I don't know how much fuel your cars consume.
In fact, I must confess. When I say put this amount,
give me 100. That's it.
In fact, I don't even
look. 2 liters, 3 liters,
so
800.
When it's exhausted, I'll go and then.
Just go and buy.
In fact, that's my attitude. I must confess.
Okay.
That's why.
So usually a reduction will be reflected on the board at the petrol station. So
from now, I want to check and see from now.
If yesterday it was
okay, so
10 Ghana cedis, today it should be less.
If it takes you 2,000,
okay,
to fill your tank.
All right.
Now, when you go to fill the tank, it will take about 1,800.
Okay.
So at least you know that at least it is less than what you were paying yesterday or a day before yesterday.
But assuming I give them 2,000, say fill it for me. I'm buying 2,000.
That is if your tank can take all, they will put all in it for you. But if it gets full before the 2,000 is exhausted, they'll return the rest of the money to you.
Oh, okay.
So I think most drivers have an idea of how much they pay to fill their tank, and people who do that would usually go and say fill the tank because they know it will be X amount.
I think we need some a little bit of education for people to be aware that, so that people can be, benefit from. Other than that,
Sheikh, I have a problem, and that education thing. So that's why I'm coming back to you. Sorry to have cut you.
Oh, carry on.
We speak jargons too much in Ghana. You see, this one, the man at the street, even Sheikh and I, who claim to be educated, we are having issues with it. Break it down. Let us get our commentators in the industries, stakeholders, captains of industries, and commentators to break down the language.
I'm only now trying to get my head into the whole driver, mentality, because passenger princess, right? Kudos to all those who drive me around every day, everywhere I go, somebody's driving me. But when you're going to buy fuel, 1 liter is like 4.55 liters, making a gallon. So if you were buying the gallon for, say, 20 cedis, that's 4 liters in that 20 cedis. For every liter, subtract the 2 cedis. So if you are paying 20 cedis a liter, and there are 5 liters in the gallon, which is 100 cedis, so you subtract the 5.
which is 10.
You see, Reverend knows his mathematics. my math teacher is looking at him with side eye.
You can't do economics and lack mathematics. It's compulsory. Right? Mathematics, statistics, econometrics is compulsory. But you know what? The housewife does better economics than the. But what I'm saying is that I'm coming back to what I'm saying, that let us break down the language. Let's speak simple languages that will make the ordinary man in the market, the street, the lady at Mokola, Kaswa, so understand this thing. Then they'll be able to understand and appreciate the effort.
Okay.
Otherwise, the jargons make people get, and sometimes I listen to some of the politicians, and it's like what they are saying is everything. You have to be, in fact, you have to be a PhD candidate to even understand some of the things they are saying. Let's break it down to the ordinary person.
All right, the last subject that we'll touch on there, we won't have too much time because we have to wrap this up in about 10 minutes. But the Office of the Special Prosecutor is on the news again, and is moving to challenge a major High Court ruling, which was delivered yesterday in Accra, that some say has effectively stripped the OSP of its independent prosecutorial powers. So the Accra High Court yesterday held that the OSP does not have the authority to independently prosecute criminal cases. It said prosecutorial power under Ghana's constitution, quoted Article 88, lies with the Attorney General, meaning all OSP prosecutions must be taken over or authorized by the AG. The court also went further to declare ongoing OSP prosecutions as null and void, and it ordered the AG, the Attorney General, to assume control of those cases. And also in the case that was brought against the High Court, cost of some 15,000 Ghana cedis were awarded, and it was a case that arose from a criminal matter involving an alleged forged document and seizure of containers where one of the accused persons challenged the OSP's authority to prosecute. The OSP is not taking this line down. It is pushing back, strongly disagreeing with the ruling, and is preparing to take steps to overturn it. The OSP says the High Court overstepped its authority because only the Supreme Court can interpret the constitutionality of an act of Parliament, and he said that it conflicts with earlier rulings, and the decision clashes with a prior High Court stance that had deferred the matter to the Supreme Court. The OSP maintains that its enabling law, Act 959, allows it to prosecute corruption cases without direct control from the Attorney General. So for now, the immediate implications are that it is not a small procedural dispute. It has real consequences. All the ongoing OSP's cases are in limbo. Major corruption cases could be delayed or reassigned, raising serious questions about the independence of Ghana's anti-corruption architecture. And anti-corruption advocates are already, talking about the implications of this ruling. They've warned that it could set a dangerous precedent and weaken the fight against corruption. Of course, there are those who are saying this is all part of some agenda to remove the Office of the Special Prosecutor entirely. And I want to pick your thoughts on this. So one day we woke up and the OSP had this job, and then the High Court tells us that no, constitutionally they don't have that power. Only the Attorney General has it. What came to mind, or what were you thinking when you heard?
In fact, recently there's an event where the prosecutor was present. I was there, and when he was making his remark, he told us he was counting his days. Yeah, he said he was counting his days because of the call for the abolishment of his office. It took the president's public comment to stop this whole due process. But he said the preservation of the Office of the Special Prosecutor should not be left to the authority of the president, whether he is in power or not, that the CSOs must do something to preserve and protect that office. The desperation and the frustration of the OSP is very glaring. It's glaring from what we hear being said and from his own public statements. Indeed, there was a whole parliamentary procedure that gave birth to this. So when we were doing all these in that parliament, what was the philosophy? What was the intention? What was the wisdom behind this thing that we spent so much money to establish an office that the same people, we are doing a lot to undermine it? And I'm not a legal expert, so pardon me. It's a special prosecutor. So what is special about it at the current circumstance? That qualification, special. How does the word special translate into the legal mandate that gives the special prosecutor the power to prosecute? If his whole authority can be truncated by the AG's office, now he wants to, and this thing was intended actually to be another more powerful layer. Already there are other offices that deal with corruption. So we thought that those institutions were not enough, or they were not fighting corruption enough, and that we needed another more powerful layer to do that. Now we do that, and still it appears what we are doing meant that we are making complete nonsense of that office.
So we are taking one step back and two steps.
Exactly, that's what is happening. And I think that we need to, if there is something constitutional that we can do to empower, because that is only when it will make meaning.
Okay, but on the constitutionality of it, the OSP says, Reverend, maybe I'll pick your thoughts on this. The OSP says only the Supreme Court can make a determination of a constitutional matter. That is what the law says. So the High Court doesn't have the right to tell OSP that OSP doesn't have the right.
Yeah, OSP is fighting for his place. The question is, Bible says the foundation be destroyed. What can the righteous do? How many anti-corruption agencies do we have in Ghana? Name them. YUCO.
Yeah, SHRAD.
No, we have
SHRAD is human rights.
Human rights.
I mean, I don't know. Do we have the SFO? Do we still have the SFO?
All the investigative bodies.
You understand? I think it is over-duplicated.
Even the media is an anti-corruption campaigner.
Yes.
So
I think it is over-duplicated, and there must be some level of consensus. Seriously, sometimes so when they are appointed, they are overpowered, and they themselves, the power also gets into them.
So the overlap of functions.
That's what is creating it. So I think that, and to some extent, without being a legal person, I think there must be that place where we can absorb some of them together, because they are becoming too much, and it's making them overlap themselves. And there must be some level of authority to handle all of them together. I think eventually the Supreme Court, as I said, should be able to come up with a blueprint that will decide whether they should operate or not go. In my view, there are too many.
Yeah, there are too many. You know, there is this idea that if you link this whole of state prosecution to the AG, because the AG is part of government. So if a government functionary is the one who should be prosecuted, there is a way that they manipulate.
Political witch hunt could be impugned.
Exactly.
But also does happen in all the other agencies.
Yes, and so they say,
okay,
then have this special prosecutor, which is clothed with a certain mandate and power, so that whether you are in government or you are not in government, when you do the thing, and that's exactly what you will notice that that's exactly what the special prosecutor is attempting to do. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you are in government, whether you are who. If you are caught within the clutches of law, say, look, let's take you there. But now he's doing so, and another layer of authority, legal authority, is telling them, no, you cannot do that.
So the
it makes
feels like it's fighting with one of, if not both of its arms tied behind
Our
its back.
biggest problem is our
happens to the
mindset.
cases
Our
that
mindset.
is
Our
pursuing?
mindset. The corruption mindset. If we can all be devoid of it, these agencies will not be necessary. I think we have too many of them.
So Sheikh mentioned how the OSP says the preservation of the office of the special prosecutor should not be left to the discretion of the president. So the Supreme Court has some clarity to offer us on this. Parliament, what should Parliament do? And should the AG say something now that the OSP has spoken? Because the High Court had the ruling, and the OSP reacted to the High Court's ruling. Should Ghanaians hear from the Attorney General on their position on what the High Court said, or should this be raised in Parliament or just left to the Supreme Court to make the determination?
I think in the coming days, Parliament will pick this up. It will be a debate, and that will lead to whatever decision will be taken next. But I wish them all well. I pray that this works for our good. Corruption in every sphere of life is not good for our community. So we need agencies, in all fairness, that will put checks and balance on people to know that whatever you are stealing today, tomorrow you end up accounting for it. And if you are caught, you'll be made to face the consequences. If we go by that, everybody will be aware. And I think that is why every government, every leader can want to get there, but they are becoming one and too many.
You see, and I think that we need to be honest. We need to be, can I qualify this honesty? We need to be brutally honest with ourselves and be genuine in our concerns about the dangers of corruption and how it's detrimental to our economy. And to be the same people who are worried about lack of enough resources for our health, for our education. We need to expand education infrastructure to educate our people. And we are all the time talking about there's no money. And then we are also aware the reality surrounding us that we are a corrupt people. The reality that we all accept is that even when we claim Islam, Christianity, we form the dominant population of this country, our same people who are in government are those who are engaged in this corruption. So it's the acceptance of our reality that gave birth to the Office of Special Prosecutor. So we brought it as another layer to it. Let's remain brutally honest to ourselves and encourage and empower the Special Prosecutor to do his work. If there is something we find inefficient, let's fill those gaps. But the fact that we thought in our parliament sat down, went through the processes. Reverend, can you imagine how much money we have spent so far? And then the account will say, this is how much money we have spent so far. Let's push it forward. Let's empower. This special prosecutor may be out of office. We may have another one. Let's create a foundation for more efficient whether change of government, whatever. It is a very powerful layer in our fight against corruption. And I think that for me, it would be most contradictory and dishonest on our part that we who give birth to this are the same people who are fighting against it. And I think that any attempt to say you want to cancel or abolish, you see, it's an attack on our efforts and initiative to fight corruption.
Okay. Sheikh, thank you so much for that passionate. I think we can all just, Reverend, don't you agree? We should just end there. Yeah. Sheikh has summed it up rather nicely. Sheikh Karim Yaw-Shaib, who is a spokesperson for the National Chief Imam, and Reverend Dr. Lawrence Tetteh is the president and founder of Worldwide Miracle Outreach. Join the outreach on Saturday at the Christian Village Center. Free health screening will be happening there. All the nonsense diseases must be stopped, and free health screening is a good way to start. Reverend and his team will be there. A team of over 20 doctors will give hypertension screening, diabetes screening, kidney function tests, and it is all completely free. So do make sure you're a part of that. Gentlemen, thank you for being a part of the program. I love where we ended the issue about the OSP and his powers. So as the OSP heads to the Supreme Court, we expect another decision that will no doubt be a landmark one. It will perhaps redefine our strives towards accountability and the corruption fight, the fight against corruption in our country. So we'll keep our ears and eyes on that topic as it develops over the next few days and weeks, and perhaps we'll have another opportunity to discuss it. Reverend Sheikh, enjoy the rest of your weekend. The weekend will see you hopefully next week. Thank you for being a part of our conversation as well. We'll take a break. When we return, the show continues. I am Thelma Taki. Good morning. We'll be back.